Mark, this will be a quick little tutorial for you on how to upload the firmware in that narrow style lock that your customer has. Basically, you want to show up there with the file that Jeff from Kaba emailed you. You can just throw that thing on a memory stick if you want, or a USB flash drive. And once you're at the actual door using presumably the customer's laptop, you want to go ahead and open the M-Unit portion of their software. This is normally what's used for lock programming and lock auditing. And you're going to select Talk to Lock, but now instead of Program Door, which I'm assuming you've done before, you're now going to select Maintenance and the Send Firmware option. Once this window comes up, you're going to select the America's radio button. You're then going to click on Send Firmware. And what we're doing now is it is looking for the firmware file. Again, the file that Jeff from Kaba emailed you. In my example, it's simply on a USB flash drive I plugged into the computer. Now, before I actually go through this procedure, I just want to talk it through. What will happen is when I double click this file to basically open it or to start the process, the software is immediately, within seconds, going to be looking for the lock to start downloading that file. So you kind of want to be ready. And when I say ready, you want to have the purple communication device plugged into the customer's laptop. You want to be standing next to the door, and you want to be ready to put the lock into programming mode using the pound 8-digit code pound 900 command procedure that you would normally use for lock programming. So I'm going to do this right now is I will double click this file and I will put the lock into programming mode using the master code pound 900 pound. I'm going to point the purple IRDA device at the lock, and kind of tough for you to see here probably, but at the bottom of the screen you'll see it's going to establish communication with the lock. It kind of gives you an update as to what it's doing. After a few seconds of this, you're going to start seeing a progress or a status bar where it's actually going to be sending over the packets or the data, and it's sending over 300 and some odd packets, and again giving you kind of a status bar. Depending on the speed of the laptop and a couple of things, this might take 20 seconds, might take 40 seconds, but somewhere in that window it's going to go through the procedure of uploading the lock. At the end of this procedure, you will hear a faint audible noise in the lock, kind of like a beep acknowledging that it's uploaded. And on the screen itself here, you'll see a firmware upload complete update. So you kind of heard the lock beep there, and the firmware says updated. So now the lock basically has presumably the correct firmware in it. You're not going to have to necessarily, or you won't have to hard reset the lock. You're not going to have to reprogram it. Whatever user codes were in the lock previously should still be in there. You can try a couple if you want. And now, just for kind of further explanation, disregard the black top of the lock. My lock's a little different than yours. This is your button. I don't have a button, but I have the wires coming out of the lock like you wired up on yours. So what we have to do is you still have to actually enable that feature as you had to do before. So that process is going to be pound your master code, which in my lock is 8 through 1, pound 0, 1, 2, pound 1 enables that, pound, and then when you're done, you hit pound again. So this feature is now enabled in this lock. So what we would do, just to test it out, is I'm going to act like the button here. Hopefully you can see this. I'm just going to short the wire, and the remote unlock works. And then it'll go ahead and relock. And again, you can try a couple of codes if you want. One thing I want to caution you on, because it tripped me up a little bit, if you had previously enabled that feature, pound 8 through 1, or pound master code, pound 0121, if you try to do it again right now, you're going to get a red light. So if you've already done that, you can probably skip that step and just go ahead and try the button and see if it does it, and you should be good to go. If it has not been enabled, then do what I just did. Pound 8-digit code pound 012 pound 1 pound pound, and again you'll get a green acknowledgement that it's enabled, and you should be good to go. So give it a couple of tries and make sure we're good, and let us know if we can assist further.